There's a city on this route where you can order a drink and a full dinner comes with it. That's just how aperitivo works, and once you've done it once, you'll wonder why the rest of the world hasn't caught on. There's also a town quietly sinking into the water while its people row across it like nothing's wrong. Both things are true. Somewhere near the end of this route, one place will quietly rearrange how you see the whole route. But you have to get there first. It looks like a fashion capital, all glass and glamour and impossible tailoring. And it is. But scratch the surface and you find a city that was once the capital of the Western Roman Empire, a place with 2,000 years buried under the runway shine. That contradiction is the whole point of stopping here. Milan doesn't ask you to choose between the ancient and the new. It layers them, one on top of the other, and lets you walk right through the middle. Start at the Duomo, because everything else radiates out from it. Give it your first morning while the light is still soft. From the street, the facade looks like carved lace, all spires and saints, but the thing you'll remember is inside. The stained glass, those deep reds and blues pouring across the stone floor, color you can almost feel on your skin. Then climb. The rooftop terraces are open to walk, and up there among the marble pinnacles, on a clear day, you can see the Alps floating on the horizon. Take your time. This is not a place to rush past. Step out of the cathedral and you're already at the mouth of the Galleria Vittorio Emanuele. Look up first. That glass dome overhead is the largest in Europe, and the whole arcade opened its doors back in 1867, which makes it the oldest shopping mall on Earth. 200 meters of mosaic floor and iron and glass, still doing exactly what it was built to do. You'll see people spinning their heel on the little bull mosaic near Prada. A local superstition, supposedly good luck. Do it. Then just stand under the vault and let the scale settle over you. That first day belongs to the center. The second is where Milan gets its texture. Wander down to the Navigli in the afternoon, the old canal district, where the water reflects cafe awnings and art studios spill out onto the towpaths. This is where you learn the most important word in the Milanese vocabulary, aperitivo. Around 6 or 7, order a Negroni or a Spritz, and the drink comes with a spread of snacks laid out like a small dinner. It's not a snack. It's a ritual, the pivot point of the evening. Settle in. Nobody's hurrying you along. If you've got the appetite for contrast, spend part of that second afternoon up in Porta Nuova and Isola, just north of the center. Here the skyline goes vertical. Glass towers, the vertical forest of Bosco Verticale with trees growing off every balcony, street art splashed across the old working-class walls of Isola. Stand between the new towers and the old brick and you'll understand what this city actually is. Never finished, always rebuilding itself on top of what came before. For the plate, keep it Milanese. A risotto alla Milanese, golden with saffron, or the cotoletta, a veal cutlet fried to a crackle, wide as the plate. And notice how everyone's dressed while they eat it. The Milanese put real thought into how they appear, even for a casual coffee. It's not vanity so much as respect for the stage they live on. Come back to the Duomo before you leave, in the last hour before sunset. The golden light hits that marble and the whole facade turns the color of honey, the spires catching fire one by one. The square fills with the low hum of 1,000 conversations, glasses clinking somewhere behind you, the warm smell of espresso drifting from the arcade, and the marble slowly cooling. 1,200 meters of track that somehow hauls you up more than 400 meters of hillside. That's the funicular, and it's the most delightfully silly way to arrive anywhere. You ride it because walking would be honest work, and you're on holiday. It spits you out into Città Alta, a medieval city up in the clouds dating back to the 8th century, where the streets are too narrow to argue in, and the polenta smell follows you around like a friendly dog. A morning does it. Wander into Piazza Vecchia. Tip your head back at the facade of Santa Maria Maggiore, genuinely showing off. Then keep climbing to San Vigilio Castle for the view that makes the whole climb feel earned. Here's the thing you'll fall for, though. Mid-afternoon, everything gently pauses. The locals call it merenda, a small snack, a coffee, no real hunger involved. It's less about eating and more about checking the neighborhood is still there, still talking to itself. Sit down, order one, do nothing productive. Time it for golden hour. The old stone goes soft and honey-colored, and somewhere below, that ridiculous little funicular keeps climbing. The scent reaches you first. Warm spruce, linseed, a resiny sweetness that hangs in the doorways along the side streets. It's varnish, drying on wood, and it's everywhere here, because this is Cremona, where they've been making violins by hand since the 1500s and have simply never stopped. Think about that for a moment. The same techniques, the same curved knives and hand-planed maple, passed luthier to luthier for 5 centuries unbroken. This is the town of the Stradivari family. You can still push open a workshop door on a quiet afternoon and watch someone shaping a scroll the way it was shaped 400 years ago. Give the morning to the old center. Stand in the Piazza del Comune and look up at the Terrazzo, Italy's tallest brick bell tower, finished in 1309 with one of the largest astronomical clocks anywhere on its face. Climb it if your legs are willing. Then wander to the Museo del Violino, where they'll sometimes play a Stradivarius so you hear what all this care actually sounds like. Ever wonder what the water is hiding beneath you? Here it drops away. Over 400 meters straight down, a glacial trench gouged out 10,000 years ago, one of the deepest in all of Europe. You stand at the edge and feel that pull, that quiet weight of it. Give yourself a full day and take the ferry, because the lake reveals itself slowly from the water. Cross to Villa del Balbianello, where the terraced gardens spill toward the shore and the mountains rise almost vertically behind you. Then linger where the 3 branches meet. The old stone lanes climb steep and narrow, and the light off the water turns everything gold in the last hour before sunset. Sit down before you leave and order the misoltini, the little lake fish dried and grilled, served with soft polenta, a taste that predates every villa on these shores. The blue below you is almost impossibly deep, the green of the hills close enough to touch, and somewhere across the water a fairy horn sounds, low and unhurried, folding into the evening. A woman sits at a small desk in a courtyard, opening an envelope addressed to no one in particular. Just to Juliet. Inside, a stranger from Osaka is asking whether she should wait for someone who may never come back. And the woman, one of a small local group who does this every week, writes back. A real answer, in her own hand. That's the thing about this city. The fiction is treated like family. Thousands of letters arrive here every year, and every single one gets a reply. You'll find that courtyard just off Via Capello, under a stone balcony that Shakespeare never actually saw. Go early before the crowd thickens against the walls, and the whole thing feels quieter, more like a shrine than a photo stop. But don't spend your whole visit chasing a play. This place is older and stranger than any romance. Walk toward the center and the ground opens onto the arena, a Roman amphitheater that went up around 30 AD, pink stone worn smooth by 2,000 years of weather and footsteps. What gets me is that it never became a ruin you just look at. In summer, they still fill it. 20,000 people, an opera under the open sky, the same tears where Romans once roared now holding a held breath before the first note. If your timing lands in July or August, book a ticket and sit on the ancient steps with a cushion under you. You won't forget it. Give the old town a full day and an evening, and it'll reward you. Wander Piazza delle Erbe in the morning, when the market stalls go up under frescoed facades, and the smell of fresh pasta drifts out of trattoria doorways. Order the pastisada if you're brave. A slow-cooked horse stew the locals make for the Feast of San Zeno, tied to this city's old horse-trading roots. Cross the Castelvecchio Bridge in the late afternoon, red brick against the green Adige, and follow the river's bend. Then hold out for the light. Just before sunset, climb toward Castel San Pietro and look back down. The whole town going amber. The river carrying it. Church bells layered over each other across the rooftops, and somewhere below, a woman still answering letters from lovesick strangers who believe, against all sense, that Juliet is listening. Nearly 500 years. That's how long one garden here has kept growing, planted in 1545 and still tended, still full, the oldest university botanical garden anywhere on Earth. Walk its gravel paths in the early morning, when the light is soft and the green feels almost loud against the old stone, and you're standing where Galileo lectured just up the road, when this university was the sharpest mind in Europe. You want a slow morning for this. Start in the botanical garden while it's quiet, then let the day open out. The Scrovegni Chapel, where Giotto's frescoes glow blue overhead. Book that one ahead. Wander through Prato della Valle, the widest square in Italy, ringed by its statues and still water. Take your espresso standing at the counter, the way they do, and let the conversation drift. Come noon, the market at Piazza della Erbe fills. Crates of artichokes, wheels of cheese, the smell of it hanging under the arcades. By afternoon, the crowds thin, the shadows lengthen across the domes of St. Anthony's Basilica, and the city settles into that unhurried, thinking quiet it's always kept. It looks like the most permanent city imaginable. Marble palaces, stone bridges, 1,500 years of standing, and yet it's slowly going under, sinking a millimeter or two every year, with some warning the water could close over it entirely before the century's out. That's the strange weight you carry as you step off onto the flagstones here. You're walking through something that may not outlast the children being born in it. It changes how you look at everything. Give the first evening to the Grand Canal, but not from a gondola. From the deck of the Vaporetto No. 1, the slow water bus that threads the whole S-curve of the city. Sit at the back. Let the palaces slide past as the light goes gold on the water and the reflections break and reform against the hulls. This is the hour the city was built for. When the stone warms and the crowds thin and you understand. For a moment, why merchants poured the wealth of the East into these facades. Morning belongs to Piazza San Marco, and you'll want to be there early before the day trippers arrive by the thousand. Stand under the basilica while it's still quiet and look up at the mosaics. Acres of gold laid by hand, the loot and glory of a maritime empire that ruled the trade routes between Europe and the East. Go inside. Then climb the campanile for the view out over the rooftops and the lagoon, the whole improbable thing spread beneath you, water on every side. But the real Venice isn't in the great squares. It's in getting lost. Deliberately, without a map, in the back sestieri like Cannaregio or Dorsodoro, where the laundry hangs strung between windows and the alleys narrow to a shoulder's width and dead end suddenly at green water. You'll hear your own footsteps. You'll smell the salt of the lagoon tangled with fish from a market stall. Spend an afternoon this way and you've spent it well. And here's the thing to understand about the people who stay, because they do stay, even as the tide creeps higher. They refuse to let the city become only a museum. Every September they still row the Regata Storica, a race down the Grand Canal in hand-pulled boats, the old techniques passed down, the banks packed with locals shouting for their neighborhood. And most evenings you'll find them where you should be, too. Standing at a Baccaro, one of the little wine bars, a glass of Ambra in one hand and Sicchetti in the other. Those small bites of bacala on bread, of fried seafood, of marinated sardine. Eaten upright at the counter, not sitting, never sitting. Do it their way. Order at the bar, eat standing, move to the next one. That's a Venetian evening. And it's a quiet act of defiance against everything pressing in on this place. If you have a full day more, take the water out to the lagoon islands. Verona especially, an hour off by boat, where the fishermen's houses are painted every color so they could find their way home through the fog. It's a different mood out there, slower, emptier, the open water stretching flat toward the horizon. 2 nights and a day between them is what it takes to feel this properly. The sunset canal, the early basilica, the getting lost afternoon, the standing dinner. Stay after the tour boats leave and you'll have the stones almost to yourself. Late on some unnamed bridge, the water slapping softly at the steps below you, the light of a single lamp shivering on the black canal. That's the The smell hits you before anything else. Ragu, deep and earthy, simmering somewhere behind a shuttered kitchen window, the kind that's been going for hours. That's your welcome. This is the city they call La Grassa, the fat, and it wears the nickname with pride. Start where the whole city funnels together, in Piazza Maggiore. The buildings around it glow a warm terracotta, and if you time your first wander for the hour before sunset, the stone goes soft and honeyed under that low light. Then look up. The 2 towers, leaning at angles that make your stomach drop a little, medieval brick stacked improbably tall. You can climb the taller one. Do it early, before the queue builds and the heat settles in. Here's the thing that surprises people. This isn't a museum piece town, all hushed and preserved. There's a university woven right through it. The oldest on earth, founded in 1088, nearly 1,000 years of lawyers and scholars and arguments. And it's still enormous. 85,000 students in a city of just 400,000. Which means roughly 1 in 3 faces in any given piazza belongs to someone technically enrolled somewhere. That's why the evenings feel so alive. The historical calm cracks open around aperitivo hour, and the squares fill with voices. walk the porticos. Bologna has more covered arcades than anywhere in the world. Nearly 40 kilometers of them. So you can cross the whole center in the rain and never open an umbrella. And if your legs are willing, take the long one. The Portico di San Luca. More than 600 arches climbing the hill to the sanctuary at the top. It's a proper walk, a couple of hours round trip, and the view back over the rooftops is worth every step. A morning for the old town and the towers, an afternoon for the arcades and the hill. That's your rhythm here. But leave a real gap for a proper sit-down meal. Tortellini in brodo, tagliatelle al ragù. The actual dish, not the thing the world calls bolognese. Order it in a small trattoria off the main squares and let it take its time. Then step back out into the arcade shadows, the light striping gold across old stone. Have you ever seen a city that seems to float? Approach this one from the north and the water gives it away. 3 lakes wrapped around the old town, the whole place set on islands in what was once swamp. The Gonzaga family understood the strangeness of it and leaned in. They built here, surrounded by water, and made something that still feels held apart from the rest of the world. A morning is enough for the heart of it. Give it to the Palazzo Ducale. Not one building, but a small city of rooms, the largest Renaissance palace in Italy. Find the Camera degli Sposi, where the frescoes wrap the walls and open a painted ceiling to the sky. Then walk the quiet way to the Rotonda di San Lorenzo, round and low and the oldest church in town. There's music in the stones here too. Monteverdi was born in these streets. The man who, more than anyone, gave us opera. You can almost feel why. This is a place built for staging. A woman ducks out of a doorway with a paper cone still warm in her hands, tears off a corner of focaccia, and disappears down an alley barely wider than her shoulders. That alley is one of thousands, and this is where you'll spend your first day. Inside the largest medieval historic center in all of Europe, a knot of stone lanes so dense that people born here, who have walked these streets their whole lives, still lose their bearings in it. Don't fight that. Let yourself get lost. It's the point. These narrow lanes are called corrughi, and they're where the real city hides. Laundry strung overhead, a slice of blue sky far above, the smell of fresh focaccia leaking out of bakeries the moment they open. Go in the morning for that and eat it plain, warm, dimpled with olive oil and salt. Somewhere in the tangle you'll come out at the San Lorenzo Cathedral, its front striped in black and white marble, standing there as if the alleys simply folded back to reveal it. Genoa was a sea power once, rivaling Venice, its merchants and sailors threading the whole Mediterranean. And you feel that old money in the palaces along Via Garibaldi, grand rooms behind plain doors. One morning threads the old town. The next belongs to the water because this is a city of two moods, the chaos of the corrughi and then, minutes later, the calm of the coast. Walk out to Bacadassi in the late afternoon. A tiny fishing cove tucked right inside the city, houses painted in faded pinks and ochres, boats pulled up on the pebbles. Sit there with a gelato and watch the fishermen. And before you leave, climb up to Spianata Castelletto. Take the little Art Nouveau lift if your legs are done, and time it for the hour before sunset, when the whole city drops away beneath you, rooftops and harbor, and sea all washed in gold. Order the trophy al pesto while you're here. The pesto was born in this region, and it tastes like it. Try the farinata too, that thin chickpea pancake sold by the slice. By evening the pierogi go quiet and cool, the day's heat still held in the stone, a last thread of focaccia and salt hanging in the dark. 900 years. That's how long people have been clinging to these cliffs, stacking houses in ochre and pink and butter yellow onto rock that has no business holding a village at all. 5 of them, strung along the Ligurian coast like beads on a fraying thread, each one tumbling down toward the sea as if it might slide in at any moment and never quite doing it. You'll want to understand something before you set foot here, because it changes how you look at every wall and every step. Nothing about this place was built by machine. Every terrace cut into that near vertical hillside, every stone in every retaining wall, all of it was hauled and set by hand, generation after generation, by people who decided this impossible slope was worth farming. And they still do. Look up and you'll see them working the terraces, tending vines and lemon trees on ledges you'd need both hands to climb to. Down at the water, fishermen still push out in wooden boats painted the same colors as the houses, and when they come back, the catch gets shared. Grilled, passed around, eaten together. That's not a performance for you. That's just how the day ends here. Give the villages their proper order. Base yourself in Monterosso or Vernazza and let one full day belong entirely to the coast. Take the train. It runs between all 5 in minutes, ducking through tunnels in the rock. But do at least one stretch on foot. The cliffside path between Vernazza and Monterosso is the one to walk if your legs are willing. About 2 hours, climbing through vineyards with the sea falling away blue and endless on your right. Go in the morning, before the heat and before the crowds thicken, and carry water. You'll earn every switchback and you'll thank yourself for it. Manarola you save for the end of the day. There's a low rocky point just past the harbor where everyone gathers, and they gather for a reason. As the sun drops, the light goes gold and then amber, and the whole village lights up from within. The buildings glowing, their reflection breaking and reforming in the dark water below. Stand there long enough, and you'll stop taking photos and just watch. It's the kind of thing your camera can't hold anyway. Now, the food, because you did not come this far to eat badly. Liguria is the birthplace of pesto. Real pesto, basil grown on these very slopes, crushed with pine nuts and pecorino and the good local oil. Order it over trophy, the little hand-rolled twists of pasta, and you'll understand why people write songs about it. Find the fried anchovies and the fresh anchovies marinated in lemon, both pulled from the water that morning. And the focaccia. Soft, salted, glistening, eaten warm from a paper wrapper as you walk. In spring, if your timing lands right, the whole region smells of lemons, and Monterosso throws a festival for them, tables spilling out into the streets, everyone celebrating a fruit that grows on ground no tractor could ever reach. 2 mornings and 1 long day is enough to know the place properly. Enough to walk the path, ride the train, sit in a harbor with a glass of the local white and a plate of something just caught. Don't try to rush all 5 villages in an afternoon. Let them come to you slowly. Wake early one day and watch the fishing boats go out while the water's still flat and silver. And when the light finally goes soft over Manarola and the vines fall quiet on the terraces above you, there's the smell of basil drifting up from a kitchen somewhere, and the sound of a boat knocking gently against the harbor wall over and over in the dark. It looks like a sleepy fishing hamlet. A handful of pastel houses folded around a pocket-sized harbor, no bigger than 2.5 square kilometers. It's actually one of the most expensive scraps of real estate on the planet, and the joke is nobody planned it that way. Until the 50s, these were fishermen and their nets. Then the jet set turned up. Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton, sunglasses the size of dinner plates, and the whole village got glamorized overnight and never looked back. So you play both games at once. Half a day does it. Wander the harbor in the morning, when the yachts are still and the water goes that impossible turquoise against the buttery buildings. Order trophy al pesto. Hand-rolled the basil grown right up these hills. At a table where a coffee costs what a small dinner should. Then walk the path up to Castello Brown for the view back down, which is free and better than anything you paid for. Come back to the waterfront just before sunset, when the pink and ochre facades melt into their own reflections and the whole absurd, gorgeous place glows like it's showing off. Warm focaccia in the air, still soft from the oven, cut through with salt off the water. Follow that scent down the narrow lanes and you come out onto the sand. You've arrived at a town that holds 2 shores in one small body. The Bay of Silence lives up to its name. Pale sand, still water, a curve of pastel houses leaning close, one of the loveliest stretches on the whole Italian coast. On the other side, the Bay of Fables, named for the artists and writers who came here to be inspired, its promenade dotted with quiet art. A morning is enough to walk both, to wander the old lanes between them, to sit with focaccia and watch the fishing boats. But stay for the evening. As the light drops, the locals drift down to the sand with glasses of wine, no tables, no fuss. Aperitivo right there on the beach, stories passing between them while the sun goes. Take your own glass, find a spot on the cooling sand of the Bay of Silence, and let it get slow. The water goes to glass. Nobody's in a hurry. Which country are you standing in when the waiter greets you in German? The menu offers you both spätzle and spaghetti, and the mountains behind him look like they belong on a Swiss chocolate wrapper? You're in Italy. Technically. This is the one Italian city where German is the language you'll hear first, and it spends its whole existence cheerfully confused about which half of Europe it belongs to. You'll want a full day here, and you'll settle into it fast. Start in Piazza Walther in the morning, when the market stalls are still setting up and the smell of speck drifts out of every delicatessen door. That cured, smoky ham they slice paper thin and hand you on a wooden board with a hunk of dark rye bread. Order it. Eat it standing up if you have to. The old town wraps out from the square in arcaded streets, medieval buildings painted in ambers and dusty pinks, all leaning together over shop fronts that have been trading since this was a stop on the route between Italy and the north. Wander it slowly. That's the local instinct too. In the early evening, everyone spills out for the passeggiata, a stroll with no destination, done purely to see and be seen and burn off lunch. Then, the reason people really come. Tucked into a plain building near the river is a 5,000-year-old man named Otzi, frozen in a glacier and now lying in a refrigerated case in the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology, complete with his tools, his tattoos, and the arrowhead that ended him. Give it a couple of hours. It's the strangest, most oddly moving thing in town. If you land here in autumn, you fall straight into Tergelen. the harvest ritual where the whole valley disappears up into the hills to drink the year's brand new wine and eat roasted chestnuts, and, yes, more speck. It's more alpine beer hall than Italian trattoria. And that contradiction is the entire personality of the place. Stay until the light goes gold. The Dolomites turn a bruised pink behind the rooftops. The church bells ring in German-Italian confusion. Qui si decise il destino della Chiesa. Here the fate of the church was decided. An old man might say it to you in the shadow of the cathedral, and he wouldn't be exaggerating. For 18 years, from 1545 to 1563, the men who would reshape the entire Catholic world met in this quiet mountain town. The Council of Trent. When you stand in Piazza Duomo, that history isn't behind glass. It's in the stone under your feet. Give the old town a slow morning. Start in that square, before the day fills it. The Cathedral of San Vigilio rises heavy and gray, and inside it the great debates were held, the decrees that would answer the Reformation and set the course of the Church for 4 centuries. Stand there long enough and the weight of it settles on you. The Neptune fountain at the center of the piazza keeps its patient sound going, water over stone, the same it has made for generations. Then walk to the Castello del Buon Consiglio, the seat of the prince bishops who ruled here. Its frescoes and its Torre Aquila, with those medieval paintings of the months, deserve an unhurried hour. This is the thread that runs through Trento. Power and faith held together in cold northern stone, a city that has watched the centuries pass without hurry. For lunch, sit down to Canederlei. Bread dumplings, born of peasant thrift, made from what was left over and simmered in broth. Humble food, warming, honest. It tastes of the mountains that ring this place, the same peaks you'll see catching the last light if you time your walk for the hour before sunset. And there is one thing older than all of it. Beneath the city, in the Cantina di Santa Giustina, wine still ages in Roman amphorae. Some of them 2,000 years old, clay vessels that were holding wine before the cathedral's first stone was laid. Ancient hands, modern hands, the same patient craft. It tells you everything about how this town carries its past, not as a museum, but as something still living, still working. And that's the whole Northern Italy itinerary. I hope it gave you some ideas for your next trip. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe for more travel content, and let me know in the comments which spot you want to visit most.